On Global Television News Prime, International Human Rights Commission says current pension arrangement for police personnel amounts to constitutional breach. In business, BRICS nation to denounce Trump tariff. On the foreign scene, Tinubu arrives Brazil ahead of BRICS summit. And in sports, Liverpool stars beats Diogo Jota, Andre Silva farewell in Portugal. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. You can also download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. Now the news in detail. The International Human Rights Commission, Nigeria, has thrown its weight behind the renewed push by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Mbetokun, for a comprehensive reform of the contributory pension scheme as it affects retired officers of the Nigerian police force. This is contained in a diplomatic memo addressed to President Bola Tinubu in a statement signed by IHRC's Head of Media and Strategic Communications, Fidelis Onapoma. The Commission said the current pension arrangement for police personnel amounts to a constitutional breach and urged the President to take urgent corrective action. As Africa grapples with rising security threats and economic challenges, the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence, Honorable Ahmed Sotami, has called for a united homegrown approach to peace, development and prosperity across the continent. Samuel Odi has the details.
Addressing delegates at the gala night of the 8th Conference of the Network of African Parliaments for Defense and Security Committees in Abuja, Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on National Security and Intelligence, Honorable Ahmed Sotami, stressed that lasting development in Africa is impossible without peace and security, adding that there is need for African nations to break free from external influence and work together to harness their collective strengths. Sotami, who was elected president of Network for a 2-year term, pledged to prioritize greater coordination, information sharing, and litigation to close African security and development gaps.
This is a great challenge that's been impounded on us by our colonizers. But when we think, come together, analyze and utilize the young age, God-given vast land and demographic mineral resources embedded in our soil, definitely we stand the chance to stand on our feet and see the Africa of our time.
He also decreed Africans' continued over-resilience in imports, describing it as a colonial legacy, and called for a forward-looking policies that reflects Africans' realities. Citing Libya as a lesson or external interface, he urged leaders to pursue homegrown solutions.
It's a challenge to all of us. If we look at this world, for instance, everything that you have seen here, 90% are made in Europe, Asia, or other parts of North Africa.
He highlighted Africa's projected GDP growth of 4.1% and its rapid growing youth population, warning that without bold leadership, economic and security risks would worsen. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Moving on, the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, says the administration of President Bola Tinubu has remained firm in surmounting the inherited intractable security challenges. Ribadu stated this at the 50th anniversary celebration of the Nigerian Defense Academy 18 regular course held in Abuja. He delivered a lecture titled Veterans as Significant National Assets. He said the Nigeria stood at a dangerous crossroad in 2022 grappling with multiple crises that threatened its unity, stability, and future. He added that warlords such as Ali Kachala, Ali Lusabubu, and Dogo Buhari had been neutralized, adding that more than 50 criminal leaders and dozens of deputies had been taken out of circulation. The federal government has negotiated the cost of the Ido Bridge rehabilitation from an initial 27 billion naira to 17 billion naira. The Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi, made this known to journalists during an inspection of the bridge in Lagos. Umahi commended Julius Berger Nigeria PLC for demonstrating a sense of cooperation under its new leadership, while describing the company as a born-again beggar, attributing the breakthrough in negotiation to understanding and openness of its new managing director. The minister reiterated the government's commitment to prudent spending, insisting that all contractors must align with the ministry standards and directives. Minister of Power Bayo Adelabu met with all Progressive Congress leaders and stakeholders in Ogbomosho and Oyo zones in Oyo State, respectively. Addressing party members in Ogbomosho at the residence of one of the leaders of the party, Ayoade Adeseun, the minister said the meeting was part of his consultations across geopolitical zones in the state towards realizing of his governorship ambition in 2027. He therefore allayed the fear of the party stakeholders that APC would not impose any aspirant in 2027, saying, "I am up to the task. I want to show them that I can withstand and survive competition and come out victorious." While seeking their support towards the realization of his ambition, Adelabu pleaded for forgiveness from aggrieved members, saying they should be concerned of how the party will come out and back to power in 2027. Former Jigawa State Governor and Chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has expressed willingness to support Peter Obi in the 2027 presidential election, should he emerge as the standard bearer of the coalition. This is just as the Middle Belt Forum said they may have no choice than stick with Peter Obi, noting that a presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election has a track record of keeping to promise. Lamido, who was responding to a question as to whether he would support Obi, who also has offered to spend a single term of 4 years if he wins in the 2027 presidential election, said if the coalition produces Peter Obi or anyone else committed to rescuing Nigeria, he would support them. But I remain PDP, noting that politicians should have outgrown tribal and regional sentiments. The Zamfara State Chairman of the African Democratic Congress, Kabiru Garba, has invited the state governor, Dauda Lawal, to leave the People's Democratic Party for his party. Addressing a press conference in Gusau, the state capital, Garba said no fewer than 100 political actors from different political parties in the state had so far joined the ADC. Garba attributed the resolution of some political figures in the state to join the party to the sterling leadership qualities demonstrated by ADC leaders through justice, fairness, and equal opportunity to all members. Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has approved the appointment of Professor Musguta Amor as Pioneer Vice Chancellor of the newly established Benue State University of Agriculture, Science and Technology. The appointment was announced in a statement signed by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Terso Kula. Kula said that Alia also approved the appointment of 8 others to serve in various capacities. The House of Representatives has affirmed its commitment to address food insecurity, malnutrition, climate change, and insecurity in Nigeria. Chairman of the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Honorable Chike Okafor, announced this while unveiling a 3-day national summit on nutrition and food security in Abuja. Priscilla Obasi has the details. Chairman of the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Honorable Chike Okafor, noted that despite existing policies, malnutrition and hunger remains high, worsened by insecurity in farming areas, climate change, inflation, and poor infrastructure. He said the summit will bring together lawmakers, government officials, security chiefs, development partners, and private sector players to align strategies and financing for food security and nutrition.
That some of the factors that exacerbate food insecurity are climate change and environmental degradation. So you'll be able to see from here the context that it's a holistic approach to addressing food security.
Okafor emphasized that security agencies must address the growing threats to farmers' safety, adding that no food security conversation is complete without tackling insecurity.
You can't talk about food security without also talking about the fact that today the farmers can no longer go to the farm because of insecurity. So we have also situated that as a part of our discourse.
Priscilla Obasi, reporting for Global Television News. The Nigeria Labour Congress has declared its opposition to any move by the National Assembly to transfer labour issues, including the matter of minimum wage, from the exclusive legislative list of the federal government to the concurrent list. Such a change would empower individual states to set their own workers' wage. NLC President Joe Ajaero issued this warning during the National Administrative Council meeting of the Central Working Committee, which took place in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Describing the move as an exercise in futility, Ajaero argued that the issue of minimum wage is treated globally as a national matter in line with international labor organizations conventions, which regard member countries as entities, not subnational units, such as states. There was unrest in the Agan community of North Bank, Makurdi, Benue State, as residents, mostly women, youth and children, blocked the Abuja-Makurdi highway in protest against what they termed indiscriminate mass arrest by security forces. From Benue State, Global TV correspondent Felicity Indere reports that the demonstrators accused security operatives of unjustly targeting incident civilians, particularly young men, while failing to address violent attacks by suspected armed Fulani herders in the area. Outraged and desperate, the protesters took over a major stretch of the busy highway, halting vehicular movements for hours. Chanting slogans and carrying placards, they poured out years of frustration over unending insecurity and what they described as a one-sided security operations. The demonstrators, mostly women, decried the latest wave of arrests in which over 50 youths were allegedly picked up in a single day. According to them, these security raids have become almost a daily occurrence, leaving families in fear and communities on the edge. They accused security agencies of turning their guns on the very people they are meant to protect, while ignoring repeated attacks by armed herders who continue to terrorize the area.
The problem we have here, we don't even know the issue that they are arresting our husbands. We are not sleeping. The Fulani are killing us. We are not even going to the farm, nothing, and we are not sleeping. We just see police trucks and soldiers that are catching us and soldiers. So we don't know the reason. That's why we are protesting today. But the chairman has come and speak with us that we shall allow him to give him 2 days so that he will talk to the issue and settle it out.
Every time we used to run because of Fulani, sometimes we used to run with
soldiers or police or most of the pennies that we have in this Ghana. Even though when we in our room, they used to come and hold us and beating us, our children now they didn't have to eat now because we didn't have money enough to feed them. Because all these challenges that we face now, please, we want help for governor to come and help us in this sitting.
The men that are actually sleeping at Agan, the youth, there are some security personnel that will come to Agan at night around 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. to come and pick some of the boys in the community. They will carry them, the following money from elders, they will delegate some elders to go and find out where they take them to. They will report to C Division, report to all the stations in Makurdi. They will say that they are nowhere to be found.
Calling for urgent interventions, the protesters demanded an immediate end to what they called arbitrary arrest and urged both the federal and state government to refocus efforts on addressing the root causes of the crisis.
We want the government, the state government, to come out for this challenge. It's too much. We are voting him to come and save us free, but now we are not resting. Both in the bush, in the town, we are not resting. Why?
Let this information lead to the government, to the governor. Let us have peace in our Ghana community. We are not sleeping.
Security personnel were later deployed to the scene to manage the protest and prevent it from spiraling into chaos. The situation was eventually brought under control following the intervention of the chairman of Makurdi local government, who pleaded for calm and promised to address the community's concerns within 2 days. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime. When News Prime returns, Burkina Faso suspends Foreign NGOs Association. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now we go to the business news. Bureau the Change, BDC operators, under the aegis of the Association of Bureau the Change Operators of Nigeria, ABCON, have hinted at the possibility of mergers, acquisitions and takeovers by the members to meet the new capital requirement set by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The licensed currency traders pointed out that there is some of the options they're working on, harping on the need for the Apex Bank to strategize with its members across the country to achieve the objective. The apprehension and anxiety in the sector have persisted as the fate of the most of these licensed BDC operators hangs in the air, unless the recapitalization deadline, which had expired, is further extended. Rwanda's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Christopher Bazavamo, says his country is poised to strengthen bilateral relations with Nigeria through trade, aviation, and information and communication technology (ICT). Bazivamo made this known in Abuja during the 31st anniversary of Rwanda's Liberation Day, also known as Kwibohara, with the theme "The Journey Continues," commemorates the end of the 100-day 1994 Rwanda genocide, during which 1 million people died. Bazivamo emphasized the strengthening trade collaboration between Rwanda and Nigeria was a catalyst for bolstering their bilateral relations, economic growth and development. Bazivamo also disclosed that Rwanda would soon establish a double taxation avoidance agreement with Nigeria to scale up investment ventures between the two countries. BRICS leader meeting in Rio de Janeiro on Sunday are expected to decry Donald Trump's headline trade policies, but are struggling to bridge divides over crises ruling the Middle East. Emerging nations representing about half the world's population and 40% of global economic output are set to unite over what they see as unfair U.S. import tariffs, according to sources familiar with summit negotiations. Since coming to office in January, Trump has threatened allies and rivals alike with a slew on punitive tariffs. His latest salvo comes in the form of letters due to be sent starting Friday, informing trading partners of new tariff rates expected next week on July 9. The Nigerian Railway Corporation (NRC) has announced plans to resume train services along Kano-Minna corridor before the end of 2025 as part of efforts to revitalize rail transport and boost economic activity across northern Nigeria. NRC Managing Director Dr. Kayode Opiefa made this known during an official visit to the corporation's Northern District office in Zaria. Opiefa stated that the corporation will reactivate key equipment in the region using allocations from the 2025 capital expenditure. On the foreign scene, President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to participate in the 17th Summit of Heads of State and Government for the Global South and Emerging Economic Bloc. The bloc includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, also called the BRICS. The president's flight touched down the Galeão Air Force Base tarmac at 8:45 p.m. local time on Friday, where the Galeão Air Force Base commander coordinated the Guard of Honor. Tinubu's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, revealed this in a statement. Brazil's Deputy Minister for Africa and Middle East, Carlos Sergio Sobral Duarte, and the Deputy Minister for Trade Promotion, Science, Technology, Innovation and Culture received President Tinubu. The Russian military in the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia has been captured by the Ukrainian forces. Oluwabamileke was apprehended by the Freedom of Russia Legion, a unit composed of Russian fighters supporting Ukraine according to Ukraine I Want to Leave project. The 29-year-old was captured in the Zaporizhzhia region after serving the Russian forces for 5 months. Oluwabamileke had been living in Russia for 4 years before his arrest on drug-related charges, the project said. He was said to have agreed to join Russia's military campaign in exchange for a reduced sentence instead of serving a prison sentence under Article 228 of the Russian Criminal Code. And now we go to the sports news. President Defense and Police Officers Wives Association, Ogogo Musa, has urged wives of military and police personnel to remain active and avoid stress to stay healthy. Musa made the call during the Depower Monthly Aerobics for Health in Abuja. She said the women must continue to undertake any physical activity that will help them to be active and keep them away from stress and other diseases. Our correspondent Samuel Odi has the details.
The sun rose early over the capital as members of Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association gathered for their monthly Walk for Health, an initiative that combines physical fitness and community bonding.
Exercise is very important to each and every one of us, and I want to appreciate Mommy Depower for organizing this. And most of the women who will come together, apart from doing the exercise, coming together is another aspect I want us to appreciate, coming together as one family.
Clad in coordinated athletic wear and armed with enthusiasm, the women walked several kilometers through designated routes accompanied by music, cheers and mutual encouragements.
When we come together like this to foster relationships, so I believe men should allow their women to come out, because a healthy wife is a wealthy life.
At the forefront was the POA President Ogoha Musa, whose leadership has revitalized the walk into signature monthly event for the association. The POA President Musa says the exercise is a vibrant initiative in promoting fitness, mental wellness among members.
We are meant to eat food, and so that's why we have been consistent, so that it is part of you. As you eat, you should know that you exercise, because if you don't do that, that means you are not balanced. it must go hand in hand, and because we've not been doing it, a lot of people don't know that. That's why the advocacy is becoming stronger, so that they know that it's part of life.
The walk concluded with aerobics, a cool-down exercise, light refreshment, and words of encouragement from the President and other DPOA officials. Plans are already on the way for next month's edition, with calls for greater participation. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Still in sports, family, friends and Liverpool teammates gathered on Friday in Portugal to pay their last respects to Diogo Jota and his younger brother Andre Silva, who died in a car crash on Thursday. Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson arrived at the funeral of Diogo Jota and Andre Silva. The coffins of Diogo Jota and his brother Andre are carried through the streets of Gondomar during a joint funeral procession. And as Global TV News Prime comes to an end, let's take a quick look at our top stories. We told you that the National Human Rights Commission Nigeria has thrown its weight behind the renewed push by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebetokun, for a comprehensive reform of the contributory pension scheme as it affects retired officers of the Nigeria Police Force. In business, we told you BRICS leaders meeting in Rio de Janeiro from Sunday are expected to decry Donald Trump's headline trade policies, but are struggling to bridge divides over crisis ruling the Middle East. And on the foreign scene, we told you President Bola Tinubu has arrived Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to participate in the 17th Summit of Heads of State and Government for the Global South and Emerging Economic Bloc. And in sports, we told you family, friends and Liverpool teammates gathered on Friday in Portugal to pay their last respects to Diogo Jota and his younger brother, Andre Silva, who died in a car crash on Thursday. Now that is it on Global TV News Prime. A quick reminder, the Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using the handle at Global TV NG. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you very much for watching. Good evening.